girls, my name's Dan. Welcome back to The Forge. In this episode, trust me, I'm a blacksmith. We are going to be making some blade smithing tongs, that's these ones here, and I'm going to show you step by step in lots of detail how to do these. Piece of 16mm square mild steel, it's about 500mm in length, and I've marked 50mm from each end. What I'm going to start doing is drawing down a taper on each side, and then behind the back here I'm going to draw in another taper, and then we're going to move on and make the rest of the tong. Okay, get yourself a good heat on here, and then take the round side of your hammer, on the far side of the bit. This is only a 2-pound hammer. What I'm going to start doing is drawing down the material to somewhere where I'd like it. It's probably about 6mm square. I'm going to find that centre dot wherever it's gone, it's just there. And I'm going to, flat side of the hammer, I'm just going to walk the material into that point. Bring a bit more material back from that centre point, push it forward a bit. Okay, I'm going to get another heat on here and draw that out a bit more. Straighten it up first. All I'm trying to create is a 4-sided taper. That nib's a bit cold on the end there. Just check to see where my centre dot mark's gone. It's here. I'm not quite on top of it yet, which is good. I'm then going to come off to the flesh of the handle, and I'm going to get the taper to be on 3 sides. And by that I mean it's going to taper in this direction on both sides. But on this side, it's going to taper on one side. So this side's going to be parallel to the original stock. Another relatively good heat on here. So, yeah, okay, so that side's going to be the parallel side. And then this side is going to be the side that's bent up. Easy. All I'm trying to do is just sneak up on that centre dot mark now, wrap back here. So there's our centre dot mark, the taper comes off there, and then a double taper on this side. So, and just at this temperature, just to make my life a little easier, I'm just going to knock the corners off. Okay, so what I'm going to try and do here is create a taper that goes back to the centre dot, the opposite direction. So, rounding hammer to start with, I'm going to start walking in that material, wasting it in, and then just basically hammering up to that point really. So now I'm going to concentrate here on the centre, where I started, which is about 3 inches, 75mm from that initial centre dot. Okay, just working this part down to about 8 square, like I said before. Whatever you put in here, this is going to be what you need to draw the remainder of this back section out to after you've done the opposite side. So that's going to end up becoming a rein. And basically all I've done now is created a taper that's about the same length as the one on the opposite side, but comes down to a fatter finishing point. Like so. I'm taking the corners off now. I'm just tidying everything up. Okay, now you can make these out of higher carbon steels. Oh well, I would recommend a medium carbon steel. It would work quite well. But yeah, if you're going to do that, obviously you can't quench these off like I'm going to do just now. So basically what I've done is I've promoted myself a second taper that's the reverse of this one. And I've brought this down to about the rein size. Okay, so I've got this hot after finding the centre point. Again, with these slightly simpler tongs and personal preferences, this is something that you can take a bit of poetic license with here, because I'm going to draw these reins down now, and if one's longer than the other and I've made a bit of a calculation error, basically I'll just yeah, they're about, oh, they're not quite, but if I've made a calculation error like I have here, I'll just chop a bit off the end of the other one. So yeah, right, I'm going to get this one in the fire and start drawing this out. So all I'm going to do is just chop off about 3/8, half an inch, that's 12mm, 10mm off the end here, like so. Get rid of this and start drawing this down. Cool, I'm going to continue to draw this down. So this is all basically 8mm square. Then take the corners off, turn it to a nice octagon size, and then we'll move on to the next stage. Okay, drawing out material. This is laborious, and it's boring, and it's hard work, and I know a lot of people don't like it, and they shy away from this process. And that's okay, it's fine. The reason I have a power hammer is because I don't like drawing out material. Well, I don't mind drawing out material, but it's not my favourite thing to do in the world. And as blacksmithing goes, I'd like to have a long and fruitful career. And if I drew out like this all the time, which I seem to do a lot of this channel, I am going to have no elbows, wrists or shoulders by the time I'm 70. So using a power hammer or something like that is an option, but you could always cut these, scarf them and fire weld the reins on, if you can do that. Or you could use a stick welder or something like that and you could weld a set on. But basically using another method to complete these reins is perfectly acceptable as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to find out where the double taper is on my point, and then I'm going to start forging this down flat. So basically what I want to do is take this centre section, which will be the centre of our hinge plate / and or boss, and I want to draw all of this material out now, so it's all the same thickness. So it's still a bit fat, so I'm going to get a bit more material out of that now. Okie dokie, exactly the same again. And all I'm working on doing is taking the thickness out of that material. I've got loads in there, and if you've been tight like me and not forged the material down too much in this area, you'll have plenty of material to turn into your hinge plate, hopefully, or boss, or whatever you want to call it. Still got material in there if I wanted it. And then we're going to bring this down. Okay. Okay, so we've got our material basically put where we want it now. And I'm going to come a couple of mil from that top of that point of the diamond here, And what I'm going to do, I'm going to come in and put the set down in. This is going to create our first nib. Now, go as long as you dare with these. Depends on how long you make them, depends on what sort of blades you will be able to grab with them. Okay, so we pulled out what will become the nib in the final stages, and I'm just going to take about 1 inch of material from here. Just going to take about 1 inch from here, maybe a bit less than 1 inch. Just going to come back, set this side of the material down. Don't have to go very far this one. All we're looking to do here is isolate the material off so that we can bring it back into itself. And create an area that will become our hinges, he says, hopefully. Okay, so I'm going to just catch the material on the far side of the anvil. I'm going to start putting this hinge plate in, like so, and then I'm just going to try and round it up a bit here, but I'm quite happy with that. To keep these nice and simple, I'll be drilling the hinge plate on these. So we don't need massive hinge plates, we just need hinge plates that work, basically. Okay, so this next bit here is optional. You can set your reins up however you want, but I'm just going to use a fuller here and the edge of the anvil just to create an offset, a little joggle. It's a very farrier-esque thing to do. Put a joggle in like this. Just square it back up, get it looking nice and tidy, and then just quickly with the fuller once more, get that in there nicely. Just like so. So I'm going to do the other side. Okay, so what I have done is cut the reins down just a slight. Now you can leave them, again, preference, you can leave them as long or as short as you like. Cut them down even shorter than these if you prefer. basically just going to pull this up into this point, the roughish taper. Once it tapers off nicely, I'll just give a little bit of a flick on the end. But I'll probably wait to do that until both of these are done. Right, so I'm just going to do that and then I'll see you in a minute. So I'm going to find a point on this hinge plate which looks like the middle. So I'm going to just give it a tap there. I'm just going to go up and over just a touch. And back towards me a little bit. It's good to spend a bit of time finding the middle. And it doesn't matter if you centered on it a few too many times. You're not going to do it in the arm by doing a center dot or two. Okay, that's good. I'm happy with that now. So I'm going to drill this through here, and then once I've drilled it through, I'm going to mark it off against the other one. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so I'm just going to hold these two together as best I can. I've got a point of some chalk in there. I'm just going to wiggle that around in there. That should give us an area somewhere relatively central. I'm going to shunt that just a little bit further forwards. Now I'm just going to pop my drill bit, my centre punch mark, just here. Let's have a little bit of a look. Yeah, I think that's good. That's the one I'm going to go for, so I'm going to drill that through as well now. Just run a file around this set. Flattening off the hinge plate ever so slightly. And just do a bit of tidying up. Okay, both holes drilled, bolted together now. They look like a set of scrolling pliers, to be fair. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a point, probably about 1.5 inches, 45 mil, 50 mil, something like that, somewhere around here. I'm going to put a centre dot mark on both of these. So I'm going to mark this up somewhere around here, and then after I've marked this up, I'm going to put a centre dot mark in, bend these down at 90, and I'm going to create the brackets so that these can hold blades and so on and so forth. Right, I'm going to get on with that now. Okay, so I'm going to find my centre dot mark. I'm going to find a good spot on the anvil. Nice round radius. I'm going to hold my hammer in a T shape, and I'm going to just knock that over. I'm not trying to forge, all I'm doing is bending stuff up. And just make it look tidy. And to be honest with you, for this, probably going to be enough. Okay, just like so. So I'm going to do the other side now. Okay, so what we're going to need to do now is just loosely bend up the nibs so that we can get our stock that we want to hold and get it fitted. So just whilst this is still warm from the initial bending process, but what I'm doing is I'm just using the hardy hole and the round side of the hammer to start a bit of a bend here whilst it's cold. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this hot, and I'm going to basically bend this over. Okay, so I'm just gonna start bringing that, curling that round, and as I'm curling it round, what I'm gonna start doing is just keeping it slightly forwards so that I can get on the edge of the anvil and straighten it back up. And then I'm just gonna basically keep doing that until I'm happy with it. So I've already done the other side, and this could do with getting rolled forward ever so slightly. So what we'll do is we'll get it hot again and then get it over the in fact, we might be able to do it now. Oh, you said that. I think I've done it. Okay, so I'm just going to kick that forward a bit, straighten that up, and then just bring that in a bit more, straighten it back up, bring that in. Okay. I think that's probably, for the sort of size material that we're going to be holding, that's pretty good. I think you don't want to go much bigger than that, or smaller for that matter. Okay, so I'm going to get the other half now, and they should pass each other, I'm hoping. They do. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bolt these together, and then yeah, I'm just going to bolt these together. I'm going to find a piece of stock, kind of like a knife blade shaped piece of stock. I'm going to lay that inside there, and I'm probably going to cut these spiky bits down now and then get it all formed up so it's looking nice and tidy. So that's it, end on there. Okay, I don't carry a lot of flat stock in the forge particularly, which is a bit irritating. So yeah, you're going to have to just bear with me with this bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come up to the bick, and I'm just going to push. I've just quenched off the hinge plates, and all I'm going to do, well, not the hinge plates, the backs of the nibs. All I'm going to do is just push these two in so that they're in line with each other. And now that they're in line with each other, I'm just going to send them towards each other just a little bit. So, not so that they're touching. So that one's coming quite a bit more than that one, so we need to get that one to come in a little bit. Okay. And then what we're going to have to do now is just bend those back out. Lovely jubbly. Now we need to open that up a bit more than that. This is 40 by 10, it's a bit big for what we're doing here. Okay, smoky. So I'm not going to bother with the... we're quenching the nibs off this time, because what I'm going to do now is get this bar in here and start basically making it fit, which is a bit, these are a bit fiddly. This is the hardest bit about these. Everything else so far has been relatively simple. Okay, so I've the last couple of times I've tried to do this, I've messed this up quite a bit because I've been either flapping around, or you know, I've just not been doing things correctly. So what I'm going to do this time is just going to use a bolster to set one side in, just get it started at least. And I'm going to flip this over. Oh, it's too long. Okay, so here we are. I'm just going to line everything up back here. Get these sitting flat there, and then what I want to do here, just crown this rivet. Do the same on the other side. Unfortunately, I've done a really rubbish job with this rivet, and if I wasn't so stressed for time, I probably will do that again, but not now. Okay, so I'm just going to open those up. Basically, just spend a bit of time now making sure these all sit nicely together and they open lovely, like that. Right, now that that's done, you get one more heat on this end bit here, get the material in there, get it held, and have a look to see how that looks. It's probably going to want a file running around it just clean up some of the edges. That rivet needs redoing really. And then I'm going to turn it round to get the other end of the fire, tidy these reins up completely, making it look really dapper. And then, yeah, go from there, basically. Sort of hoping this is going to be the last heat on this end. Now, yeah, look at that, they're going to hold lovely. So the biggest issue is that these aren't in the middle. Right, let's push that down to where I want it, get that held in nicely. So things that you really need to check for, that it's central through the reins, and also that this part is central as well, which it's not, which is a little bit frustrating. So I need to send that one down a bit, over, and then. Okay, so I am going to need one more heat, but that's only just to move some bits around. Okay, these turned out really good. I'm really pleased with these. I've not done that style before where you tape it up into a point and then you turn that mass into a hinge plate or a boss. It works quite well. It's kind of like the Brian Brazil hammer eye style, but he uses round stock. It's very similar. It's quite an easy way to make a set of tongs. Now, if you wanted to, you could definitely make yourself a set of tongs, flat bits or some scrolling tongs, or you could pretty much make a couple of different types of tongs that way. You just have to be a little bit creative. But yeah, it's a good process. And it's an easy process, and these are a super simple pair of tongs to make. These are so simple. If you're struggling to make these, just put a bit of practice in. Most of the work in these is the drawing out. Now, the issue with them, I don't particularly rate these as tongs if you're going to be doing other things, like if you're going to be drawing out 40 square or something like that. Because you could hold square stock with these as well. You could make them so that they held square stock. And the reason I'm not particularly keen on these is because they're a bit flimsy. This material here is a bit thin around the nib transfer area from the hinge plate, and because it's a bit thin, it causes some problems. It bends and flexes and so on and so forth. And if you're not going to make them out of a medium carbon steel, again, that's going to cost you time, effort. That's what makes it hard to make the tongs. Then you're going to have to beef them up a bit, and to beef them up a bit, they still bits start getting in the way with. Anyway, so basically, set of box jaws like these are some box jaws here. There's be a video link for it somewhere. I'll put a card up here or something. Will get you out of that situation 9 times out of 10 and give you a pair of tongs that can do the same job as that, except from these are a lot more complicated to make than these. And to be honest with you, I have made these in the past to get myself out of a pinch. They're very quick, they're very easy, and they take hardly any time at all. You could use flat stock to make these as well. So anyway, my point is, if you're looking for a pair of tongs that's going to hold your stock and last you a lifetime that you can use under the power hammer, I personally would make a set of box jaws. But if you are starting out on your journey, or you are in a pinch, or you're in a bind, then these are lovely. They do the job really well. This took me about 2 hours to make these, start to finish, with the drawing out and everything. And to be fair, flicking the camera around the workshop and sorting the lighting out and doing all the nonsense and stuff, that probably adds somewhere in the region of half an hour on. An hour and a half to make these, draw them out, get them looking tidy, and do all the nonsense with them, I don't think is too bad. I don't think it's too much of an investment if you want to make these. Yeah, they came out okay. Just a couple of things before we move forward. Remember, t-shirts are up on the Etsy. If you want to get your hands on them, go and have a look on the Etsy. It's free UK delivery, so they're £15 and it's free UK delivery. And raffle tickets for the hammer will no longer be available after the 1st of January. If you want to get your hands on this little tiny Viking hammer, you need to buy your raffle tickets before the end of December, 1st of January. Okay. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you are a subscriber, please ring that bell for notifications, because it will tell you every time I make a video. I make videos as often as possible at the minute, and I'm doing quite well at getting them out to you guys and girls at home. which is good. We've got some cool stuff coming up in the not so distant future, and after the Christmas break sort of thing, hopefully I'm going to be a bit more regular with my uploads. I keep saying this, but I'm really trying at the minute because, you know, it's kind of working and I'm kind of enjoying it again after my little bit of a downturn. That's everything. Thank you for joining me. I will leave a link to a video up here of me making something. This is what YouTube thinks that you would like to see, and this here is the most recent video that I've posted, if it's not this one already. Thanks. Bye bye. My name's Dan, welcome back to The Forge. In this episode of Trust Me, I'm a